So for the last few days, I've been reporting to you that while we've been capturing video and while we've been exporting video from the capture to a file that can be uploaded to YouTube, a very unusual thing has been happening, which I have never experienced before, and that is that my machine, in the middle of doing things, has just started either being shut off or basically being put into sleep mode. And I was trying to figure out, well, what's going on with this. So MacBook has a utility that you can use to, it's called Activity Monitor, and you can use it to check what processes are running on the machine. And so and a couple that have been helpful in identifying, for example, the rogue Google sessions have been Little Snitch and Lulu, which you'll see, I think both of those. There's Little Snitch right there. And so they're just little applications. Here's Camtasia that we use to record. And Lulu's another one in here. Anyway, so when the machine recovered from each time that it was put into sleep mode, I decided, because it was happening repeatedly, I'm going to say 80 times at least in 3 days, especially a lot of them yesterday between 3:30 and 6 p.m. And so, so each time, well, not each time, but many times after it recovered, I started to check to see, well, what services are running that don't seem usual. So I want to show you, because I managed to get one screen, a clip of it before it shut back off, showing what was running. Be prepared, because you're going to be kind of shocked. The first one I want to point out is Google Software Update Daemon. And then you're going to see several instances of Google Software Update. 1, 2, 3, and that's not all. 4. There was at least 4 or 5 Google Software Update processes running, which I killed one by one after the machine, after I discovered them, when it came back up. So I had never seen those ever. And so today I was talking to my internet service provider and my hosting company about what's been happening, and I also talked to Cloudflare, and all 3 of them told me the same thing. They said, so there may be some troubles with your internet service provider, and they should make sure that your internal network is secure from external access. And so today, Comcast upgraded our service, so we're on a high security modem now. And also, they reviewed their logs to see if there had been any unusual activity, unusual accessing into our network, which consists of my laptop, my roommate's laptop, a few phones, and an iPad, and a PlayStation. So pretty basic stuff. They said there has been no external access, and so the thing that both Comcast and also Cloudflare made me aware of is they said, look,
I've never seen those.
It's not always that it's things from the outside that are coming in to cause you problems. Sometimes programs can be installed without your knowledge, without your authorization, by other programs that you trusted. And so I had already shown you, some of the issues that we found with the rogue sessions of Google Chrome, but I'm going to show you something else that that came to light today, which is kind of just an interesting, situation that I had no expectation of. So I'm going to show you that next. It may be that I have to be back. So I had mentioned to you guys before in a prior video how there has been a keystone agent that I had heard about for some time, which supposedly was software that Google installed without your knowledge, without your permission, without your consent, to keep its applications up to date and install, track, report to Google, whatever else it wanted to know about. And I had attempted to disable that, but it turns out that it, in fact, had been the one to not only keep running, basically get itself started again, and also install other software that has supposedly not even been used lately. So each of those Google software updaters that was running when my machine recovered from that going to sleep, each of those times that it happened, it was caused by an unknown agent from the inside of our network, not the outside. So someone installed something on my computer without my consent that was making it happen. And so today, after learning that, I'm like, well, I guess it's time. If Google really thinks it can do that to people, we've got to remove Google Chrome and got to remove Google Earth Professional from the laptop, and then I've got to get this keystone application and this software updater application off of my machine and see if it stops it. So I was just doing some searching, and amazingly, from very, very credible source, Wired, who first started reporting on this Google software update app that you saw running live, Wired complained about it a decade ago, because it's grabbing hardware information, usage frequency, number of active profiles, many pieces of information. And so the things that people are saying about it, here's a kind of a good encapsulation. Google claims what the file does is harmless. However, because of how it's been designed, it behaves like malware. What will you think if I'm telling you there's a piece of software that installs on your computer without explicit asking your permission, not giving any options to decline it, frequently sends back data to Google without your knowledge, can't be configured with any settings menu, no uninstallation tool for it, and it will reinstall by itself if you delete it? That's a pretty damning summary of a piece of software, wouldn't you say? And Smoking Gun says, and Google claiming it's harmless, and me seeing it running while my MacBook Pro is going into sleep mode 80 times in the last 3 days, is kind of a little less than harmless, wouldn't you say, Google? So people in the know seem to be saying probably a good idea to remove it. So and by the way, it will install itself without your knowledge if you have Chrome running. It will install by itself without your knowledge if you have Google Earth running. So just be aware of that. I thought a lot about Google Chrome, thought it was a great browser until I found out how they can use it to hurt you. So some pretty complicated instructions on getting it gone. And so if you're not familiar with using Terminal on a MacBook, you'll want to get someone maybe's help who is. But you go into Terminal, and then here's the Keystone agent I talked to you about, and it's saying, okay, so you can find out what's in this Keystone agent what are the things they're running? How often? When's the last time it pinged? When's the last time it was active? How frequently is it doing it? All that, and showing how frequently it's running. In some cases, it's running every few minutes, and I discovered it doing that in my case. And every single time that it recovered from a sleep mode, not one running, but several. So, so in terminal, there are commands like this that you can write to do things like set how frequently that keystone agent checks and reports to Google. So 604,800 corresponds to every 24 hours. And I'm thinking that's probably, is that seconds? Probably it's seconds. So if you change it to 0, then it will stop sending data. So you just defaults, right? com.google keystone agent check interval 0. So that would stop that. Uninstall that Google software update app. You've got a remove command, sudo rm, okay. Unfortunately, if you install any other Google app, it will quickly return as it's installed if you run or install any other Google app on your Mac. So because of this, they recommend taking different steps to uninstall it. So they go through several of them. And, essentially you're removing them from the individual user, then you're removing them kind of at a global level, and then checking to see if it's really gone. So, the other thing to let you know is when you're uninstalling the application, if you're using Google Chrome, then there's a fair amount of executable similar commands like this that you'll want to run to remove all of the extra stuff that they leave behind. So they have the ability to do this to you again if you don't clean it out. So search carefully on how you remove those applications, because just dragging them to the garbage bin, yeah, that's not going to do it. And I guess I can give you an example of the ones that I ran in cleaning up Google Chrome tonight. So you look here, here's this evening, July 8th. All of these remove commands related to Google Chrome. You see them all, right? Remove library application support Google Chrome. Remove library application support crash reporter Google Chrome. Remove preferences Google Chrome. Library preferences Google Chrome. Caches Google Chrome. Library saved application state Google Chrome. Yeah, we're not done yet. There were about 50 of them that needed to be executed, and you can go through this video, and because it's basically 2 screens full of them. If you get library saved application, and there it is again, you can see them all in those 2 screenshots of them. So when you remove it, if Google pulls the same kind of BS that they've pulled on me, proven now, Google, proven, then you can do your best to protect yourself. So the remaining question is this, and it's a really interesting one, and that is, what else might they have hidden on machines as their, super deadly ultra weapon kill switches in case somebody gets wise to them and removes all this other stuff that they have running. So it's just a matter of time, and we'll see it we'll see it if we start seeing those